Read what you love, not what everybody is reading. Books. Okay? Hi, Viles. Hi, everyone. I'm thinking of what to name my fandom. So, hello, everyone. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi. My name is Jill, and I'm just a babe that loves to read. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys book recommendation, reviews, where I get my books from, and tips on how to read. So if you want to get tips on how to read or how I became a reader, because I was never a reader, I never liked to read, but I eventually started reading. So if you like to know how it is for me, how I grew to this level, stick to the end of this video because you're definitely not going to miss anything. Let's get into it. I get my books from everythingbooks.ng on Instagram, a bookstore whereby they sell thrift books, new books at very affordable prices. You can see books of 2,000, 3,000. They have romance, thriller, educational books, high school books. They are really lovely books. When I started buying books for myself, I started purchasing her, and I got her on Instagram. She's very trustworthy. I'll put her link down in the description box if you guys would want to get books from her. Many people ask me where do I get my books from. That is where I get my books from, at very affordable price. This video is not sponsored, but everything book. If you see this, call me, call me, call me. So guys, I do not have a lot of books, but in total I have 18 books plus this is my newest book. I haven't gotten new books because I'm trying to get rid of the ones I have, not like dashing it out. I'm so scared of giving my books out. I'm sorry, because I'm scared. What if they damage it? What if they don't return it? Because some people tend to lend them books and they think, okay, books are just books, but books are my babies. I love my books so much, so I'm kind of scared giving out my books. It's called The Spirit of Downfall. If you're in Nigeria and in Lagos, and you're supposed to know the meaning of downfall, even the color is supposed to tell you what it is. Okay, so this book, Girl Unknown by Karen Perry, is about a man who brought in child of his ex into his united household. Guess what that means? Trouble. So she brought in trouble. She did a lot of things. She conspired against the wife just because she wanted to have the man to herself. And this man brought in somebody that came to his office one day and told him, I'm the daughter of Linda. Linda was his first love. Linda, he cherished her, but Linda moved on and they had to like part ways. And since the man really loved Linda, so he brought her into the household. But little did he know that the girl was not what she was. Do a lot of things. She would wear the wife's clothes just to spite her. She attempted suicide just to make them pity her. She would bruise her face, beat her face up just to make sure she frames the wife and she divides the home, have the man all to herself. I'll rate this book a solid 10 over 10. This book is so good. If you like all these suspense thriller movies, get this book. I recommend this book for you. Dr. Franklin's Iceland by Anna Hallam. This book was the first fiction novel I ever read. This book is lovely. Dr. Franklin's Iceland is about a group of teenage kids who were supposed to go for excursion, but their plane crashed on their way and landed on this island. Many of them died, some of them got missing. They were finding body parts everywhere. So basically, it's always this bad person that has so much money that loves to experiment on people. It's here. So he watched the children for some time to see their survival skills, if they could survive, what their skills were, what they could do. After watching them, he decided to, after some time, kidnap them, brought them into the Iceland, made them work for him by force. He started injecting them with so many things, experimenting on them, trying to make them transform from human to animals. So all this book has a lot of mental trauma. These children were traumatized at the end of the day with the few survivors that came out from Dr. Franklin's Iceland. So this book, I will rate it an 8 over 10. The book is good. If you like mysterious book and if you like science fiction book, onto our first romantic novel of the day is Draw Me Close by Nico Michael. This book is about two high school lovers, which is Derek and Lindsay. So Derek and Lindsay used to date back then in college. Ex-girlfriend was pregnant, and when she broke the news to him that she was pregnant, he had to break up with Lindsay. But he broke up with Lindsay in an uncommon way. So years later, 8 years later or so, they happened to be reconstructing a house together. And then I don't want to spill the tea too much, but will they get back together? Nobody knows. Breadwinners collection. This is a collection. It's a 3-in-1. The first story, the second story, and the last story. It's kind of a realistic, let's say it's not a true story, but it was formed from true stories from the war that happened in Afghanistan. This book is very emotional, and you definitely feel grateful of life. This book is really, really interesting. So if you like books about events of life, what or all those things, you should read the book. This book is really nice, and I'll rate it a 9/10 because it's a life changer. It changed the mentality. So get this book. This is another thriller book. It's called Murder in the Limelight by Amy Mears. I read, although this book is very old, it was published copyright 1987 by Amy Mears, all rights reserved. So the book is kind of old, so it has like old, you know how these Bridgerton movies are, that's how the book is written. It has like not so much of our English, so it takes some time to understand, which is fine, but the book is actually really nice. So in this book, there was someone who was killing girls from a theater house whereby people go to watch plays from. I'll read this book a 6/10. And next thriller book is Heyyyy by Edith Ravel. This book, this is the first book I have read that brought out tears from my eyes. But I didn't cry, but it brought out tears from my eyes because this book is very emotional. This book is about a 17-year-old girl called Chloe who gets kidnapped during her summer vacation in Greece alongside her best friend. Her best friend wasn't kidnapped, mind me, but Chloe was adopted, and she's drugged. She's left alone in an abandoned warehouse for 4 days without seeing or meeting her kidnapper. So she just had her thoughts and imagination in her head. Eventually, Chloe fell in love with her kidnapper, and a lot happened in the book. This book, I would rate it a 9.5/10. Our next book, we have Second Chance by Jane Green. This book, it took me like 2 months to finish this book. With some of college friends back then, and they graduated, they lost touch, everybody went their separate ways, just like the friends you had that you don't have them anymore. They're just your status viewer now. So apparently that's what this book is about. Everybody went their separate ways, but they come back together for a burial of one of their clique of friends. Written like it's a movie. So Holly Mack is a trophy wife. She's not allowed to walk, she's not allowed to keep friends, she's not allowed to dress the way she wants, she's not allowed to make phone calls. So apparently she was only allowed to go to bring her children back home to house chores and prepare for bed. But Holly was not always like that. Mark changed her the way she wanted to, but she was not happy in her marriage. Things happened after they went for the reunion of their friend's burial, and the whole friend clique came back together. It is a 10/10. This book right here is very, very realistic. It does not really have a happy ending, but it is what it is. Life doesn't always have to be happy, but for me, life should be happy. This book is very educative, very, very educative. It has to do with this girl that gave birth during her teenage years, and life was passing her by. She was taking care of her son Jack while her baby daddy was abroad living the life. Her friends are living the life. Even her mom was trying to move on because her mom was divorced. I'll rate this book a 7/10. Midnight. This is a 3-in-1 book. They have different authors and different stories, and they were all I'll rate this book a 7/10. Refugee Boy is not a love book, but it has to do with the war between Eritrean and Ethiopian. Alim is the main child of the story. Alim lost his both parents due to the war, and he had to start living the life of a refugee. He had everything before, but he lost it all because of the war that happened. 3 Amazing Things About You by Jill Marshall. My namesake book has to do with a girl who was diagnosed with, is it kidney cancer or liver cancer? I've forgotten. but she was diagnosed with cancer and her life had to come to an end. She had to start living like on the low and everything. Okay, Heyyyy is her name. Heyyyy had to find something to do because she was not allowed to go outside. She would always go everywhere with an oxygen. She would always get allergies. She was just frequent from the hospital back home. So apparently she had to like create a website which was called 3 Amazing Things About You. People would come and say 3 amazing things about them and state their problem. Heyyyy will give them a solution, but will Heyyyy find a solution for herself? Nobody knows. But if you read this book, 3 Amazing Things About You, you would know if Heyyyy actually found a happy ending. Meet Me in Hawaii. I finished this book not too long ago. Meet Me in Hawaii, but this book is another love and romance book. This book made me think of myself. Ciao. It made me think of myself. So apparently it's about Malipuki. The main person is Malipuki. She left her family and friends and fled after the tragedy that happened with her brother dying, she being in a car accident with her friends, and she was the only one that came out unharmed. So she felt guilty and she did not want to have anything to do with love or commitment because she was scared of losing people. So Malipuki finally fell in love with a billionaire or millionaire. But will she finally give in to love, or will she live just like the way she has always left people hanging? I read this book a solid 8/10 because the book was actually it was kind of realistic, but it was so cheesy. So anyways, if you want to get your head in the clouds, read this book. So that is the end of everything I have in my library. Here is the tips on how to read. If you want to be a reader, I wrote down 8 simple steps I used to build myself to be a reader. Read what you love, not what everybody is reading. Slow and steady. You know what they say? It's not a tale, it's actually true. Slow and steady wins the race. It doesn't matter how long you take to read a book. Sometimes I take 3 months to read a book. You're not in competition with anybody, you're just in competition with yourself. So it's fine if you take some time to read. It's okay. This is the next tip. Just as far as you are reading 1 chapter a day or 10 pages a day. The next tip I have, explore different books. Not because you love romantic book, thrillers, you would only be reading that specific book. It will make you bored and get tired of reading. Just explore. You may not know something you think you would not like. You would actually like reading those kind of books. Next step on my list is listen and watch people who love to read. It's okay to give up, but try again.